Friday, 28th January 2022. To present the news, my name is Cilla. A quick look at the stories making headlines. The Anti-Corruption Commission, ACC, arrests Zamra director over honeybee pharmacy saga. Zambia is on course to attain single-digit inflation by the end of 2022, President Hichilema. Ugandan economy fully reopens after 2 years. Ukraine's President Zelensky urges world leaders to tone down rhetoric on threat of war with Russia. And the reigning champion Verstappen reveals new helmet colors for title defending season. And now the news. Anti-Corruption Commission ACC arrests Zamra director over honey bee pharmacy saga. The Anti-Corruption Commission has arrested and charged Zambia Medicines Regulatory Authority Zamra Director General and the Principal Regulatory Officer for corrupt practices. Bernice Mwale, aged 64 of Chadley, Lusaka, and Brian Kavika, aged 42 of Minwood Chamba Valley, Lusaka, have been charged with willful failure to comply with applicable law and procedure contrary to Section 34, subsection 2B of the Anti-Corruption Act No. 3 of 2012. Details are that on dates unknown but between 1st July and 30th September 2019, Ms. Mwale and Mr. Kavika jointly and whilst acting together with other persons unknown, failed to comply with applicable procedure and regulations when processing license in favor of honeybee pharmacy. The named officials have since been released on bond and will appear in court soon. The matter was presided over by Magistrate Honorable Samson Mumba.
The Anti-Corruption Commission has arrested and charged Zambia Medicines Regulatory Authority Zamra Director General and Principal Regulatory Officer for corrupt practices. Bernice Mwale, age 64, of Chadley, Lusaka, and Brian Mwanei Kabika, aged 42, of Minu Champ Valley, have been charged with willful failure to comply with applicable law and procedure contrary to Section 34, subsection 2 of the Anti-Corruption Act No. 3 of 2012. Details are that on dates unknown but between 1st July 2019 and 30th September 2019, Ms. Mwale and Mr. Kavika, jointly and whilst acting together with other persons unknown, failed to comply with applicable procedure and regulations when processing license number PL/50091/19 in favor of honeybee pharmacy.
Zambia is on course to attain single-digit inflation by the end of 2022, President Hichilema. President Hakainde Hichilema has said that Zambia is on course to attain single-digit inflation by the end of this year because the ongoing macroeconomic stabilization program has started yielding positive results. President Hichilema said that the reduced inflation rate to 15.1% in January 2022 from 16.4% recorded in December 2021, supported by the stability in the price of many goods, stable exchange rate, and the confidence stakeholders have in his government's capabilities to manage the economy. President Hichilema has said that a situation where people's incomes or salaries every month are buying fewer goods and services each time the inflation rate increases will soon be over. The president said that with a single-digit inflation rate, many benefits will accrue to citizens, including stable and predictable prices of goods and services and increased purchasing power. The president said that this will eventually lead to stable interest rates with dividends accruing to citizens as they can have access to cheaper financing to improve their businesses and welfare. Meanwhile, President Hichilema has expressed sadness on the death of the 16 accident victims in Pemba district, southern province. President Hichilema has sent a message of condolence to the families and friends of the deceased and said that his thoughts and prayers remain with the family and friends of the deceased. President Hichilema has also sent his best wishes for a quick recovery to the accident victims in hospital. The head of state has since emphasized the need to improve road safety on public roads by investing in quality road infrastructure. President Hichilema said the Road Transport and Safety Agency RATSA will continue to receive all the support to help fulfill its mandate of promoting responsible behavior on the roads. He has further urged motorists to exercise maximum responsible behavior while on the roads to safeguard lives. The president said this through his spokesperson, Anthony Walia, during a press briefing at State House. In international news, Ugandan economy fully reopens after 2 years. The economy in Uganda fully reopens after nearly 2 years of closure for some businesses. Bars, nightclubs, theaters, and other sections of the entertainment and night economy were officially closed in March 2020. Some bars and other entertainment centers have been secretly operating, while others permanently shut their doors. This also marks the lifting of the dusk to dawn curfew, except for motorcycle taxis known as boda boda, which are only allowed to operate until 19 hours local time. President Yoweri Museveni had, in his end of year national address, directed that the rest of the economy could reopen 2 weeks after schools had resumed in person classes. Following a spike in positive COVID cases around Christmas time, the country has been recording an average of 300 cases per day in the recent days. More than 1.2 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered so far, and Uganda has begun giving out booster jabs to priority groups. Still in international news, Ukraine's President Zelensky urges world leaders to tone down rhetoric on threat of war with Russia. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said other world leaders have been overstating the likelihood of war between his country and Russia, causing panic and destabilizing Kiev's economy. Speaking to foreign reporters, Zelensky said he explained in phone calls to world leaders like US President Joe Biden and France's Emmanuel Macron that though the threat from the Kremlin is imminent and constant, Ukrainians have learned to live with it since Moscow invaded in 2014. Russia has amassed tens of thousands of troops on its border with Ukraine, prompting fears that Russian President Vladimir Putin is planning an incursion. Russia has repeatedly denied its plans to invade its western neighbor. The exact severity of the threat posed by Russia remains unclear and has reportedly been a point of contention between Zelensky and Biden. Their conversation on Thursday purportedly did not go well, a senior Ukrainian official told CNN. On the call, which the Ukrainian official described as long and frank, Biden was said to have warned that a Russian invasion was now virtually certain and imminent, while Zelensky restated his position that the threat from Russia remains dangerous but ambiguous.
The Ukrainian Defense Ministry put out pictures today to show they can defend their country, even as their president criticized the White House for talking up the possibility of war. That's part of the danger, he said, created by the build-up of Russian forces.
Навіщо така кількість військових? Навіщо проводити так часто навчання? Яке навчання? Вони ж все вміють, вони ж кажуть, що у них потужна армія. Навіщо зараз навчання саме тут? Чому на цій території? Чому на цих кордонах? Ви ж розумієте, що це ризики, що всі реагують. Це дійсно небезпечно.
Ukrainian soldiers have been skirmishing with the Russians from trenches in eastern Ukraine for 8 years. Hence President Zelensky's frustration with a US administration which behaves as if the Russian threat was something new. Don't think I'm ignoring the problem. Like the president in the film Don't Look Up, he said.
Ми дивимось вверх, ми точно розуміємо, що відбувається, і ми про це говоримо з нашими людьми. Але ми в цій ситуації 8 років, як я вам і сказав. Тому ми повинні дивитись не тільки вверх, ми дивимось під ноги.
The Russians fired another barrage of pictures today showing armoured trucks on their way to Belarus. It's not just Ukraine that feels threatened now, but also NATO countries. So why wait to impose sanctions?
Так, як всі говорять, що завтра війна, вона буде повномасштабна, навіщо нам санкції потім? Тож, йдеться мова про санкції точно не для нашої держави. Це говорить про стримання повномасштабної агресії у бік країн Європейського Союзу.
And would more sanctions on Russia work?
Mr. President, you have thanked the British government for providing some anti-tank weapons. But what about the fact that London is a centre for the laundering of Russian money? Are you concerned that that will undermine any sanctions? And what do you want the British government to do about that?
Дуже складне запитання.
It's a complicated question, he said, unwilling to point the finger at London when he needs British support. Today, Ukrainian soldiers in Kiev were remembering those of their number killed in the war in the east. The Ukrainian government is treading a delicate line. If Western countries appear to be gearing up for war, it fears that may aggravate Russia. But without European and American support, Ukraine is vulnerable and alone.
And finally, in sports news, reigning champion Verstappen reveals new helmet colors for title defending season. The Red Bull racer showed off the new lid on social media, with Verstappen set to use a predominantly white and gold variation on his traditional helmet design, capped off with a golden lion on top and critically a gold star at the back of the helmet representing his title win. The new helmet will also feature the number 1, with Verstappen having announced that he would run the number in favor of his usual number 33 season. In doing so, Verstappen will become the first champion to run number 1 consistently since Sebastian Vettel used it in 2014, the first season where drivers could choose their own numbers. Meanwhile, when pre-season running begins at Spain's circuit Barcelona-Catalunya, Verstappen will get his first taste of Red Bull's all-new 2022 car on February 23.
So guys, helmet reveal. I haven't seen it myself as well, so let's see how it looks like. Bit more gold, as you can see. Even gives you wings is in gold at the moment, so that looks really cool. The line fully in gold, and as you can see, of course, also the number 1 on the back spoiler. Yeah, I mean, I decided to just not really change the design a lot, but of course change the colors a little bit. So instead of the red you could see before, it's now basically fully gold everywhere, with some tiny little details which improved. I think also here, you know, a little bit more design into it. And of course I asked for the little star on the back with the championship win. So yeah, I think you know, tiny little upgrades, but I do think the gold makes it a little bit cooler. So I hope you enjoy it as well.
As As we end the news, we take a look at the stories making headlines. The Anti-Corruption Commission, ACC, arrests Zamra director over honey bee pharmacy saga. Zambia is on course to attain single-digit inflation by the end of 2022, President Hichilema. Ugandan economy fully reopens after 2 years. Ukraine's President Zelensky urges world leaders to tone down rhetoric on threat of war with Russia. Reigning champion Verstappen reveals new helmet colors for title defending season. On that note, we've come to the end of the news. My name is Priscilla Muziamba. God bless.